My name is Monika Linder-Guarnaccia and I'm the director of the EBUS Basel, an instrument for urban and regional development. And our aim is to develop the whole region of Basel, even or nevertheless or just because it is across the borders. The Swiss mentality has a lot to do with integrity and discretion. I think the Swiss mentality is thanks as well of the diversity we have in the political parties, and not just, you can't just be right or left, you can be all in between, and a lot of diversity. It allows the people to be self-conscious and to take self-responsibility, to make the choices and to understand what the country really needs, and not just to focus on what you as a person really need. And I think that's a very Swiss mentality, to be self-responsible. I think Basel is a very open-minded city. It has a lot to do with its multiculturalism, and it has a lot to do as well that it loves to be, it accepts all directions, and it loves as well to be influenced. It looks on France and it looks on Germany and it gives its influence, but it takes it into the city as well. Basel, as an economical, strong partner of these neighborhoods, has a lot of work to give as well, and therefore there is a passing over the borders that you really need as a city. You need the experts from France and from Germany, and it makes it go every day. More than 27,000 people just cross the borders just for work and not for leisure, and then you get all the leisure issuing as well on it. So it is very important to be open-minded and to make that tradition that exists since ever. If you look as well at the chemical industry, I mean, it comes from the textile industry, from France actually. The relation between Basel and Mulhouse was very, very strong further past days, and it still is. And in that kind of EBUS, that regional planning we are trying to settle up for the future, we are just sure that this is the right direction to get developed, to get developed together. Well, in the very, very near past, is for me the greatest achievement is actually the opening of the Rhine Uferweg, just along the Rhine, opening the way back to France, just for the very common citizen. It just you realized, opening that wonderful space, that you are so close together. And it opens to the citizen just a huge new space and area for recreation, for getting together, for reading poems. And this is the kind, I think, that we should work on it further on and enjoy. I can tell you about the future of the planning of the whole Kleebeck-Dreiland area, which is a unique space, urban development space that we are planning with Basel, with Weil am Rhein in Germany, with Rhine, and this is huge what has been done there. From an idea that was just from Basel, all the countries around are integrated, and there is a common way how you want to develop that kind of place. And just to admit, and that's the most important thing actually, what is the gain for your neighbor? Not just your gain, but the one for your neighbor too. And this makes it so fabulous to work on that project, to see the qualities, to set the qualities, to set as well, to gain about the knowledge about what the citizens needs really, and the citizen needs today. But what will they need in 20 or 30 years? And that's the long-term planning we are doing as well. you have to imagine we look at the country space, at the open spaces, we make concepts on the open spaces, and we look as well how will the area be needs to be developed, how many new homes do we need, how many spaces for work, and all this together with UNAG and Weil am Rhein and Basel. So there are a lot of gains for everybody if it is really a good cooperation working on. To aim these goals in cooperation for the development across the borders, we have, of course, different mechanisms to solve the problems. So we get together all the politicians, we talk about the issues, we set an agenda, and then we work on it with the technicians. And we look how is the law in the different countries. We know it by now, and we set a timing that is not the same for every country, but at the end it helps us to reach the deadlines at the same time. So in France, for example, you have to talk to the politicians much earlier than you have, just for a little example, in Switzerland. In Switzerland, the technicians can go further on before the politicians just say, yes, go for it, because the politician just said go for it, so now do the work. It's another mechanism, but we know that, so we organize ourselves and the projects around that. And then you have, of course, all the legislations, all those steps you have to resolve, and it's good. But the final thing of the mechanism, that it works really, it's trust. If you have a team and you build up a team, it doesn't matter if it is somebody from France, from Germany, or from Switzerland, there is a team. And you have one aim, to make that project really get realized and get worked. So that is the mechanism, the trust and the team players, that they work together and they really have one aim and they want to achieve it. There are some spaces around Basel, in Basel, that are neglected, but especially I think the Rhine is still very neglected all around the whole metropolitan area, because people just used it very much for industry. That's why I'm such a lover of the project just around the Rhine, between St. Johann and Hüning, because it just gives a wonderful space back to the citizens. And therefore we have from Rheinfelden until Bad Bellingen, all over the region, an aim to increase that good quality along the Rhine, to make it possible with bikes or walking for the citizens. These are surely places that are neglected until now. There are some more spaces, because we have a lot of Kiesgruben and in the area we have more than 50 carriers that you have to work on that. And we are building one park actually out of that unknown space, of that completely left over space. We are trying to build a park, and that will close, that will be served for the citizens, that will be able to be used just near the airport. So you can see in the other side a very town-oriented park, because there are airplanes, and it's great to see them. They are huge when they pass over. And at the other end, you can use all the space for biodiversity at the same time. And you can use it newly as well, just for jogging, biking, enjoying or playing with the kids on a space that is just closed until now. And so we have now as well projects going from Rheinfelden until up to camps, Petite Camargue and Bad Bellingen. And this whole region, if you see, I mean, how many people do just a marathon in the same city? And from Rheinfelden until Bad Belling, you have exactly 42 kilometers. It's one marathon, it's one region, and I think that's the thing, the important thing to work on it and to make identification of the whole region and as a heart place of the metropolitan area. In every part of the Rhine, in every city actually of the Rhine, we have a project to get further on and to make the Rhine visible. So in Rheinfelden, there are two Rheinfelden, one in Germany, one in Switzerland. We have a bridge being built until 2019 that will increase as well the communication between these two countries, and will as well increase the biking circle until Grenzach-Wielen through Muttens, and then as well going further on to Basel, increase there as well the ways. We have a new project as well that will be done near the Wettstein Brücke and the part of Basel. We have the Kliebeck-Insel that will be part of it as well. And then you go further on and you're in Weil am Rhein. There will be a park that will be reconstructed and be reopened to the Rhine. So you will be able to sit on the borderline, what is not able to be done right now at the German side. And just vis-a-vis, you have the Huningue strand and beach, and that will be as well relocated, just renewed, so that people really can use it and belong and identify with the whole region. Then you go further on and there will be Village Neuf and Bad Bellingen, and there are a lot of projects going on there. And there is a all-over project actually that that will be continued after EBUS as well. There is just something very, very easy, a program of all the festivities around the Rhine. It's so easy, but nobody ever did it. So I'm happy to be helpful on that and just have just an overview of what the Rhine has to give to the people. It has an impact, of course, it has an impact of how people live around, and it has an impact that if you want to buy a house in Lörrach in Germany, you pay just amazingly lot compared to Berlin. So it's kind of shocking for German people coming to live into this kind of area, saying, wow, that's amazingly expensive living in Weil am Rhein or in Lörrach, and it's much cheaper to be living in Hamburg or in Berlin or in Bonn or even in München. And this is just like the impact of the capital Basel giving it as well to the neighbors. So it's not just that they are taking or giving Basel gifts as well to its neighbors. And at the same time it is actually, of course, a problem because you can't earn the same level of money in Switzerland than you can in France and Germany, and it's always something that we never will be able to change. It's economics, and as far as the laws are like they are, we are not able to change that, even if the political willingness in the area, in the local area, is very strong to get a solution on that. The EBUS is actually an instrument that comes out from the German development area 1901. It was more architectural development, because at further time it was just like, here is a space, international architects, renommee, come please and tell us how to develop the city. And the EBUS changed from that time until now, and it's much more a process. It became a process of places that were neglected or places having a real problem in urban development. And therefore, I think it was about 2005, 2008 that the canton of Basel and Fritz Schumacher and Maria Lezzi, working there in Basel, just said we need to work with our neighbors, and how can we manage to make something really happen, and how can we manage not to start always again when we have a project just at the borderline. And so they said, well, let's try if we can do an EBA out of the German place, taking it over to Switzerland, and let's talk to our neighbors. And so the idea came up, analyses were made, and in 2010, 14 politicians said, yes, we want an EBA. And they started that instrument and called for projects all around. A lot of projects came in, about 125, to show how the region should be developed and how we can increase the living together and finally 45 were chosen. And in the last 6 years we mainly made the quality check, the criteria, what does a project need, what makes a project EBA project that really shows on a model way how the region should be developing in the future. And from these 45 projects we have now 3 that are finished and 19 in the pipeline until 2020. The EBA Basel takes 10 years exactly, and it's just a project just to show all the ways that lead us to a community, to a region, to a well-developed urban region, and shows as well how do you need to talk and when do you need to talk and in which way do you need to talk to the citizen. What is participation? The meaning of participation, and how can we develop today or planning today for actually a future that will be take over in 25 years. So at the beginning there were 14 communities that said yes, we go into that EBA Basel and we make that EBA Basel together, and nowadays we are 27. So it shows that the development, the urban development across the borders is something that it's really aimed from all the region and from the whole metropolitan area. How do we manage to work together? Well, we meet a lot, we talk a lot, and we set aims, very strictly aims, what to reach, and we react all the time if they're not close to be done, if there is a problem. We meet in between the politicians and exchange if the strategic of the development of the regional development is still the way we should go, if we should care about further problems in the area, or if we should be solving other ways. Just the reaction of the politician is very, very often and very close, just to be able really to work sincerely and open-minded on this project. Then we have the technicians of all the communities getting together and learning from the others. So there is a very strong interaction in between all the communities and all the technicians, and they see how a project has been developed in Rheinfelden, they see it in Mulhouse, and there is a difference in between them. Of course, there is another culture. How do you plan different projects? But there are so many things that they can learn from each other that it just gives a very strong dynamic to project development. And then you have, of course, of all these 19 projects that we are carrying, we have plannings and again, a lot of meetings and a lot of work meetings just to work on the project and solve step by step. And so you don't wait the usually long step to go further, and then you have to increase one project, and then you pass it over to France, and then you pass it over to Germany. But it is a team building, and the ways are very, very short. The decisions are very short, and if a project goes in a way, in a direction that one of the partners is not happy with, we are very clear, very open, and everybody is not only allowed but invited to say what should be changed on the project.